Hi everyone, so we thought it would be a good idea for you to have a variety of sketchbooks to look at so you can see how they're put together and how they link to each assessment criteria. So this is our level 9 textiles one. Okay, so the first page we have is the title page. A nice simple background and then the chosen brief in the middle. So this is your first part of AO1. So you've got a mood board and a mind map here. The mind map is on a really small part of the page, and it's got some nice little tactile bits in an envelope that you can take out. The mind map is words that relate to the brief that you're doing, and the mood board is pictures, fabrics, things basically that again relate to the brief. So this is where you have your first artist response. You can pick any form of artist that you like. It can be a designer, it can be a fashion designer, it can be a photographer, a sculptor, anyone, as long as they relate to the brief that you've chosen. So in this case, Barbara Kruger has been chosen, and she's a photographer, and the candidate has put together lovely magazine pages and then using the CAD/CAM machine just put sewn words across her face. These samples are just done in a little booklet form, so they open out and the written analysis is included in it, and it's a really lovely first designer research. So the second artist response is really simple but effective. All they've done is shred paper, write notes on it, and then either put it in a little envelope or weave them together. Same format applies. So they've done written analysis, they've researched the designer and sampled. So this is artist number 3. Again, really lovely layout and a really simple technique. It's just sewing into book pages. Done. Still got the written analysis, but it's lovely. It works really, really well, this page. So here on the left hand side we have the colour analysis. This shouldn't take you long. You're just analysing colours that could be used for the project. This is where we kind of merge AO1 and AO2 together. So you're still looking at artists, but you start sampling more and putting patterns together. Now, this where my hand is now, that's another designer. I don't want to scare you, but I haven't included that one, but there is a tiny little one added in there. Then we've got samples that relate to the artists that we've looked at. So still on AO1 and AO2 here, another artist study, and again, really easy techniques. This is just writing on pockets, just like the artist does. Then just where my hand is, you'll see another sneaky little artist study, but again it's small bit of writing, little sample. Then moving on to designer number 7, again small little samples here. So this is where the project really starts to come into its own. So this is where the candidate chose what form of messages he was going to look at, and he chose to look at the Holocaust, where he actually visited Auschwitz and was able to take his own photographs. So we got primary research. He's then done a little write-up about everything that he's found out so far, which gets him marks for AO3. Don't miss the written parts. It must be done. And again, some more purposeful and meaningful photographs which relate to them. So after doing the primary research, this then feeds on really nicely to do designing. So really small little designs in here using fashion illustration, just mounted onto papers that relate to the project that he's used throughout, and then just small annotations around the edge, how you're going to make it, where your ideas have come from, fabrics you might use. Only 6 will do. So this is where we look at developing and refining our ideas. So everything that we've already looked at, we're going to refine it even further. Again, nice opportunity to get some primary research in here, some lovely photos. Everything relates to the brief, from the hair, from the people in Auschwitz having their hair shaved off, to the little raffle tickets as their numbers. Here we see more samples and more elements of research that relate to the brief, so the Holocaust. Even these little bits that I'm turning now, they all relate to the brief, and it's the sort of marks and patterns that you've already seen in the book before. You don't want to start doing things in here and adding tut in that you haven't already done, because you'll lose marks for that. Then what works really well that this candidate does is he revisits the artists that he's already looked at. So he's going into much more detail. He's getting in personal responses. So here he does lovely drawings of the gas mask, all relevant. But then he kind of goes back to artists that he's already looked at and refines them. So here again you see Paddy with the pockets. You see the coffee stains, the bandages, the text. All of these pieces that you see have already appeared somewhere in the sketchbook. Nothing that you're looking at now has just popped up. Again, he's thinking about AO3, he's writing about everything that he's doing. So he's explaining why he's done it, how he's done it, how it links to the brief, where he's got his inspiration from. This then leads him on to develop ideas. So he can then develop his initial ideas to come up with something closer to the final piece. If you have your final piece in mind, it makes this section much, much easier. So he knows now what he wants to do for his final piece. So he's refining again. You see them black lines again, those shredded paper. You've already seen that at the beginning of the book. So you're not doing anything you've never seen before. So he refines his final samples. He gets them good. He basically does them over and over again until they're 100%, and he knows how he's going to put them on the final product. He then designs the final product, annotates it, writes about it. So more final samples that are going to go on the product and relating to the brief. And then he makes a prototype, and he made his own pattern to make the dress. So this has gone in and he's just written about it, things that went well, things that he needs to change when he makes the final piece. He then spends his time getting marks for AO4, making his final dress, and this is the final dress that he made. Every element of this sketchbook and final piece is absolutely dreamy. So these are the marks that were awarded and got it a level 9. So AO1, 20 out of 24. So exceptional ability to come up with ideas from either an artist or the initial brief. AO2, 23 out of 24. So the sampling throughout is absolutely exceptional. Not necessarily high skill, but loads of samples in there, from printing to mark making, hand sewing, machine sewing, photography. There's a wealth of stuff in there. AO3 isn't neglected. You can see the brief throughout. AO3 has to link to the brief, has to have written elements. Yes, there was a lot in there, but it's clear titles. You know what the brief is throughout. No random stuff just pops up. Then AO4, the final piece, so 22 out of 24. So that was the dress. And again, absolutely exceptional to be able to put something together like that, that displays a clear understanding of the visual language.